Hello, hello. If I asked you what ExUnit's seed option does, you'd probably say it randomizes the order of tests, right? And that's accurate, but it turns out it does a whole lot more. I discovered this through a weird intermittent bug in our test suite, and I kind of want to show you what it's doing. So this is the scenario we had in the team I'm working with. So it's a simplified version, of course. So we have this test, and you can see here that we're doing an enum random to get an integer, right? In the test we were working with, of course, this was like factory setup, and it was sort of setting up an attribute for a record. But you can see this here, it's randomizing between three numbers, and then our assertion was assuming that that attribute was set somewhere else, right? So it was kind of like a nested thing. In this case, we just simplify it, and we can refute that the integer is 2. Now, since this is random, you would assume this would pass a certain number of times and fail at some other times, right? Hence the intermittent failure aspect of it. So there we go. I'll run it once. It failed. Let me run it again, and it passes. Let me run it again, and it fails, right? Now, the interesting thing is, once we discovered this, we grabbed the seed, and we started trimming down the order of tests we could run to reproduce this failure. And it turned out that just by running this one test with the seed, it would fail. And that was the part that was really confusing to me. So let me show you this, right? So I'll grab the seed, and let's just run that test. And boom, it fails. And let me run it again, and it fails, and it fails. In other words, it fails consistently even though we're running a single test. So the seed is not only determining the order in which the tests run, it's actually doing something else. Well, it turns out the seed is actually being used to seed Erlang's rand number generator. And in turn, that populates, or that handles how enum random works. So if you take a look at enum random's documentation, it tells you that it's using what the Erlang rand function, the seed that is being used. So in other words, when you pass in the seed, it's not only determining the order of the test being run, but it's also populating the seed for number generators for things like enum random. And that's actually kind of a good thing because it makes it so that tests are a little bit more consistent even within the randomness that it introduces, right? So a test like this one is actually pretty easy to reproduce once you have that seed, even though we're trying to do pulling random numbers, because the seed is populating the random number generator. So a pretty cool thing that ExUnit is doing underneath the hood. It was a little surprising to me at first, but once I realized what it was doing, it's actually quite helpful when you want to reproduce test failures like this. I hope you like it.